All people on Earth had dark skin, all of them. Not some people, not most people, all of our distant ancestors. Don't believe it? Look at your hand. Seriously, just look at it. The color of your skin feels like something ordinary, but in reality, your skin is not just appearance. It is a trace of an ancient battle that lasted for thousands of generations. So how did humans change their skin color? People began leaving hot Africa and moving into new lands. They reached places where the sun was weaker, where winter lasted longer, where the sky stayed gray for months, where the old skin color, the one that once saved lives, suddenly started creating problems. And slowly, humans began to change. Not in one day, not in one generation, not because someone wanted to look different, but because the body was trying to survive. This is what happened, and humans changed the color of their skin. But the most important thing here is not the color itself. The most important thing is the reason. Because once you understand it, one thing becomes clear. Human skin is not about beauty, not about strength, not about better or worse. It is an ancient body setting for the sun. And by the end, you will understand one very simple but powerful thing. Every skin shade on Earth was once the right answer to a question of life and death. Imagine Africa hundreds of thousands of years ago. No houses, no clothing in the way we know it, no sunscreen, no hospitals, no vitamins from a pharmacy. There is only open land, hot air, stones, grass, predators, hunger, and the sun falling from above every single day. For ancient humans, the sun was not just light. The sun could warm them. It helped them see. It gave life to plants. But it could also slowly kill. Sun rays that we cannot see with our eyes can damage the skin. They can damage cells inside the body. If there is too much damage, a person can get sick. Today we know that strong sunlight increases the risk of skin cancer. For ancient people, this was especially dangerous because they had almost no protection, and this is where dark skin appears. Dark skin color comes from a special substance that works like a natural shield against the sun. The more of it there is, the better the skin blocks dangerous rays. This is not decoration. This is protection. In hot Africa, this protection was a huge advantage. A person with darker skin handled strong sunlight better. Their body received less damage. They stayed healthier for longer. That meant they had a better chance to grow up, survive, find food, become part of a group, and have children. That is how nature works. It does not choose what is more beautiful. It does not think about fashion. It does not argue in the comments. It asks only one rough question. Does this help survival? If it helps, that trait is passed on more often. If it hurts, over time, it disappears. In Africa, dark skin helped. It helped a lot, but there was another reason many people do not think about at all. The sun could harm not only the skin, it could also destroy important substances inside the body. One of these substances is especially important for pregnant women and future children. If there is not enough of it during the first weeks of pregnancy, the child may develop incorrectly. Sometimes the pregnancy may end. Sometimes the child may be born with serious problems. Ancient people did not understand this. They did not know words like vitamins, cells, or genes, but nature still saw the result. If a woman lived under strong sunlight and her skin did not protect her body well enough, the risk of problems was higher. If her skin was darker and protected the body better from harmful rays, the chances of having a healthy child were higher. So, dark skin protected people from two dangers at once. It helped the body suffer less from strong sunlight, and it helped future children be born healthy. For ancient Africa, this was almost the perfect solution. That is why the first humans were dark-skinned. It was not a random color. It was armor created by life itself. And if humans had stayed in places like that forever, maybe the story would have ended there. But humans did not stay. Ancient humans were always moving, sometimes because of hunger, sometimes because of drought. Sometimes they followed the animals they hunted, sometimes because the group became too large, sometimes simply because there might be better land beyond the hill. So, step by step, generation by generation, humans began to leave Africa. It was not like a movie where one day a chief raises a spear and says, "We are going to conquer the world." No, everything was much slower. One group moved a little farther. Their children were born in a new place. Then they moved farther again. Then their children moved farther too. And over thousands of years, humans reached the Middle East, Europe, Asia, and later other parts of the planet. And the farther north they went, the more their world changed. The sun became different. Not because the sun itself became weaker, it was still the same huge ball of fire. But in the north, its rays hit the ground differently. They passed through a thicker layer of air. There were fewer of them. Winters were longer, days were shorter. The sky was gray more often. The cold lasted for months, and this is where the main trap began. What once saved people now started to get in their way. In Africa, dark skin was a shield. It protected the body from too much sun. But in the north, there was already too little sun. Now the body did not only need to protect itself from sunlight, the body also needed to catch at least some sunlight to make an important vitamin D. Vitamin D is needed for strong bones, a strong body, and normal child development. Without it, bones become weak. Children's legs can bend. The body grows worse. People get sick more often. Childbirth becomes more dangerous for women. Today, we can get vitamin D from pills, supplements, food, and doctors. But ancient people did not have any of that. Their body depended on the sun. Sunlight hit the skin, and the skin helped make vitamin D. But if the skin was very dark, it blocked many of the sun's rays. In Africa, this was good. In the north, it became a problem. Imagine an ancient person born in cold Europe tens of thousands of years ago. The sky is gray, the sun is low, winter is long, food is scarce, clothing covers the body from the cold. The person gets almost no sunlight, and their skin still blocks the rays very well. Too well. The body tries to get vitamin D, but there is not enough light. Bones become weaker. Children get sick more often. Women have a harder time giving birth. Some people do not survive. Some do not leave children behind. And then nature asks its cruel question again. Which trait helps survival here? In Africa, the answer was more protection from the sun. In the north, the answer became different. The body needed to let in more sun. And slowly, in different groups, people with slightly lighter skin began to appear. Not white right away, not suddenly, just a little lighter. A person like that had skin that let in a little more sunlight.
If you will watch it this far, please give it a like.
Their body made a little more vitamin D. Their bones could be a little stronger. Their children could be a little healthier. Their family could have a slightly better chance of survival. And that slightly was enough, because nature does not work through giant jumps. It works through small advantages that repeat again and again. One person survived where another died. One child grew up stronger. One woman survived childbirth. One family left more descendants. 100 years pass, then 1,000, then 5,000. And what was once a tiny difference becomes a visible change in an entire group of people. That is how human skin began to become lighter in places where there was little sun. But the story gets even more interesting. For a long time, people could have thought that Europeans became light-skinned right after they arrived in Europe, as if humans left Africa, reached the north, and their skin changed quickly. But it was not that simple. Scientists studied the remains of ancient people and found something surprising. Many hunter-gatherers who lived in Europe a very long time ago still had fairly dark skin. They had already lived far from Africa for a long time. They already lived where the sun was weaker, but their skin had not become as light as the skin of many modern Europeans. Why? Because food helped them. Hunter-gatherers ate what they could find and catch: fish, meat, animal organs, eggs, shellfish, and many different wild foods. This kind of food could contain more vitamin D, so they got part of the vitamin they needed not only from the sun, but also from food. And then a huge change happened. Humans began farming. They started growing grain, wheat, barley, rye, oats. They began living in villages, storing crops, moving around less, and depending more on fields. At first, this sounds like progress: more food, a permanent place to live, houses, food supplies, more people nearby. But this change had a hidden price. The diet became poorer. Instead of a varied diet with meat, fish, and many different natural foods, people began eating mostly grain, porridge, bread, simple plant-based food. It gave a lot of energy, but there was much less vitamin D. And now, a person in the north found themselves in a new trap. There was little sun, food gave almost no vitamin D. The skin was still fairly dark and did not let weak rays pass through well enough. And this is when the pressure on skin color became much stronger. Now even a small lightening of the skin gave a serious advantage. A person with lighter skin could use the weak northern sun better. Their body could make more vitamin D. They could survive better on the new diet. Farming did not only change what people ate, it sped up changes in appearance. And there was one more important point. Farmers lived in larger groups. There were more people in villages than in small groups of hunters. People met more often, married, had children, traded things, and moved from one settlement to another. If a useful trait appeared in such a large network, it could spread faster. Among hunter-gatherers, a small group could live separately from others. A useful change could stay inside one family or one small community for a long time. But farmers lived differently. Settlements grew. There were more people. There were more connections, and traits that helped survival could move faster from one group to another. That is how farming, weak sunlight, and a lack of vitamin D together sped up the appearance of lighter skin in some parts of the world. But one thing is important to understand. People did not become white everywhere in the same way, and light skin did not appear in only one way. In different places on the planet, people faced a similar problem: little sun and the need for more vitamin D. But the bodies of different groups solved this problem in slightly different ways. For example, Europeans and some peoples of Asia may have developed lighter skin through different changes in the body. The result is similar, but the path is different. It is like two people building a bridge across a river. One builds it from wood, the other builds it from stone. The bridges are different, but the task is the same: to reach the other side. It was the same here. Different ancient peoples got a similar result because they faced similar pressure from the environment. And this shows how important this task was. If nature comes to a similar solution again and again in different places, it means the problem was serious. It was not a small detail. It was a question of survival. But it is easy to make a mistake here. You might think, if skin changed, then one color must be better than another. No, that is the wrong conclusion. Light skin is not better than dark skin. Dark skin is not better than light skin. Every color was useful in its own environment. In hot places with strong sun, dark skin protected the body. It helped avoid damage from rays that were too strong. It helped preserve important substances inside the body. There, it was an advantage. In cold and northern places where there was little sun, lighter skin helped the body get more light and make more vitamin D. There, it became an advantage. So the question was not which color was better. The question was where a person lived. The sun was the main director of this story. It did not choose favorites. It did not divide people into better and worse. It simply shone differently in different parts of the planet, and the human body changed to handle the conditions. Where the sun hit too hard, the body strengthened its protection. Where there was not enough sun, the body weakened its protection to catch more light. The same source of life created different answers, and all of them were correct. But there is one more unexpected point. Many traits that we now see as very ancient actually appeared not so long ago. For example, blue eyes. Today they seem ordinary, but once all people had dark eyes. Then one small change appeared, and because of it, there was less dark pigment in the iris. That is how blue eyes appeared, and they spread fairly recently by the standards of human history. So humans were still changing, even after they built villages, even after they started growing food, even after they created the first large societies. We often think of ancient people as something finished, as if one day the real human appeared, and after that, there was only the history of culture, wars, cities, and technology. But the human body also continued to change. Skin, eyes, the ability to digest different foods, the ability to live in cold or heat. All of this continued to adjust to the world. Humans were not a finished figure simply placed on Earth. Humans were a process, and this process continues to this day. Today, we live very differently. We can move from a hot country to a cold one in just a few hours. We can live in a heated house. We can wear warm clothes. We can take vitamins. We can use sunscreen. We can eat food from any part of the world. We have partly tricked the old rules. In the past, place, sun, and food directly decided who had an easier time surviving. Today, medicine and technology have changed the game a lot. But the traces of that ancient game are still on us. Skin color is one of those traces. It is a record left by thousands of generations, a trace of where our ancestors lived, what kind of sun shone above them, what food they ate, what problems they faced, what they needed protection from, what they lacked. Every shade of skin is not an accident. It is the memory of the body. Dark skin speaks of a world where the sun was strong and dangerous, where powerful protection was needed. Light skin speaks of a world where there was little sun, where the body had to catch every ray so it could live normally, and the shades between them speak of thousands of different paths through which humans spread, mixed, survived, and changed. And the strangest thing in all of this is how simple the reason is behind something that later became such a huge part of human history. People argued over skin color, divided each other, invented cruel ideas, built entire systems where one shade was placed above another. But at the foundation of all of this, there was no higher or lower type of human. At the foundation, there was biology, the sun, vitamin D, protection from harmful rays, the survival of children, food, cold, heat, the movement from one world into another. What humans later turned into a reason for pride, fear, hatred, or power began as a simple attempt by the body to solve one problem. How do we survive under this sky? And here is the main answer. Humans changed their skin color because the Earth was different. In one place, the body needed to close itself off from the sun. In another, it needed to let the sun in. And for thousands of years, the human body did what it knew how to do best. It adapted. So when you look at your hand again, remember, this is not just a color. This is an ancient story.
Now's the time to subscribe to the channel